So we're going to look at final assembly real quick. We'll start there, work our way back to the paint department, back to the wood shop, back to the picture room where we have a bunch of furniture as well, a bunch of finished stuff. It's all the way on the other side of the building, so we'll have to walk over there, so you have to bear with me while we do that. But anyway, it is Friday. I do What's in the Shop. My name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow, and I'm doing these live streams to kind of show people what running a real business is, what it's like to run a furniture company, a paint company, all these kind of things in the kind of day-to-day existence of being a freaking business owner in America today. So we got all the conversations about tariffs and making things in other countries and the price of everything. And again, I talk about all that stuff. I talk about what our furniture sells for, what kind of money we make, what kind of employees we hire, how we hire, what kind of just garbage that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And man, it is a lot of garbage. So we're going to go through all this stuff and yeah, let's kind of start. So I'll flip around here. We are in final assembly today. So we got this massive China cabinet, right? And this thing has been the bane of my existence. So the issues that we ran into with this particular piece were the veneer so this is a vintage piece of furniture. So I guess that's the first thing you guys have to understand. This is vintage. We did not make this. So we had veneer actually stringing off of the cabinet, right? So it was falling off the cabinet. This was after it was painted. And sometimes this happens with lacquer. Lacquer will interact with the original finish, and when that happens, sometimes it can cause the wood to do all kinds of goofy things. So we had to add laminate to the entire cabinet. We laminated the outside, we laminated the inside. I think we ended up removing, so come in here. We ended up removing all of these panels down here and replacing all of them, okay? Now, so that was like the first time we had to take this entire cabinet and we had to bring it back to the shop, right? So I went to the customer's house, all these issues happened, right? Then we got to send our shippers over there, pick it up, bring it back, okay? Now, the other thing that I noticed when I was there last time is the glass was cut too damn small. See the big gap right there? You shouldn't really have that, right? So we ended up getting some larger shelf ends. I don't normally do that, but I'm not at buying new pieces of glass at this point. So the shelf ends were a good idea, and it's gonna make the customer happy. But that was the first problem, right? So we send it back to the customer, and it goes back to the customer, and then they call me up, and they say they have damage, right? So we had a little bit of damage right about here, and you can't see it anymore, right? Because we sanded it, we primed it, we painted it, we sanded it again, and we painted it a second time. We got Big E in here. Morning, Big E. We got Murder Drones. Good morning to you guys as well. We're talking about this massive China cabinet this morning. So I'm going to go over exactly what we had to do with this thing, and you'll have to go back in the stream. But anyway, so we got Ray Ann Butler in here. Hello. But anyway, so it comes back a second time, all right? We had damage down here. This was a problem. Also, these doors did not want to close. So the customer would close one door, and then they would close the other door, and the door was like, it was kind of like cocked a little bit, right? So we had to work that issue. So what I had to do, we'll see if I can show you guys this, is I had to take a router, and we had to take a router and we had to actually shave this whole section down. So I had to take about 1/4 of an inch and reduce the size of this nice trim piece that's on the outside to get this thing to set correctly. And for whatever reason, it just did not want to freaking close. I don't know why, but anyway, everything's closing now. Our gapping is uniformed, and it's fantastic, okay? So then the shipper brings the piece back to the shop, okay? They didn't wrap the cabinet, and several of the drawers fell off and fell over and effed up all the drawers, so we ended up having to repaint all those. They dropped the cabinet down here. We ended up having to fix the bottom of the cabinet. So, man, we just had shit tons of work to do to this thing, and it ended up being a complete cluster. But anyway, so now it's going good. The cabinet's beautiful. We're going to deliver it again today at 1:30, and hopefully this client will be happy. This client has bought custom pieces from me. They live in a massive mansion that is beautiful, and these are the people that buy my furniture, and these are the people you have to keep happy. You got to keep your customers happy, especially when they have tons of disposable income. You can't just leave them hanging, and unfortunately we did a little bit of that, and that was not good. So now we got to make sure we do the right thing and get these guys happy. So all right, more comments coming in. Nice watch. This is just a little Sunto watch. So yeah, I'm the modern woodworker. I like running. Of course, it's dead if you haven't noticed. I need to plug it in. So anyway, all right, more furniture. Okay, we're gonna flip back around. So coming back in here, pieces that we're working on. We have, of course, our Zane credenza. This piece is, I forget where this one's going, but it's, nice color. It's pretty. and it's not as shiny as some of the other ones would be, but it turned out pretty good. So I think the client's gonna be real happy. Looks like we need to put hardware on it. And anyway, I sell, like I said, probably 50 of these a year. It's been my best selling piece of furniture for a long time, and it's slowing down a little bit. So we'll see how this year goes with that one. We got these serpentine pieces. These are starting to sell quite a bit, and they've been kind of hot. And sorry guys, get out of the light here. Anyway, so these are really nice. They're beautiful pieces, and the finish. This is some kind of a ruby color. You guys can see the finish is really nice, and the client's of course going to love that. And this is of course vintage, so it's not going to have like soft close slides or anything like that. But you can see that on the sides here. You can see where we've masked off here. We got a little bit of color here, a little bit of primer. So we'll take a razor blade and we'll score that off just to clean it up just a tiny bit, and then that'll be acceptable for a vintage piece of furniture. And yeah, I think customers are really gonna like that. Over here we have, this is a piece of Landstrom furniture, right? But it's a replica. So I actually built this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it turned out really nice. The color's fantastic. It's a beautiful blue, and really like it. And the client wanted original Landstrom hardware, so I actually sell replica versions of this in solid brass. These are actually plated tin, but they're very nice. And you can see that the patina, the customer likes that. The customer actually wants the patina, which is very common. It's very common for people to really like hardware that looks aged on a bright, glossy piece of furniture. But what you notice about this one, so we open the drawers, we've got nice lacquered cherry drawer boxes. We lacquer all of our drawer boxes. We make them all right here in-house. We don't outsource it. And everything's on soft close slides. So very different than the original. The original would have wood slides. And yeah, so anyway, turned out really nice. It's a beautiful piece, and the customer should like it. And I'll continue to make replicas of those. And we'll put that on our website, on the resplendentgrow.com, and we'll be able to sell tons of these. And that's part of the game. Part of the game is making replica furniture, making custom pieces for people, and then you put that stuff on your website. You know, you make versions of it, put it on your website, get it listed. These become production type pieces of furniture, and it works because you already have the engineering, you already have the hardware, you already have it all because you've done it once. You've gone through the finding process, the figuring out what works and what doesn't, and so it becomes more of a money-making opportunity the next couple of times you make that piece of furniture. So, all right, flip back around. So I'm putting this together this morning. This has to go out. This is just a vintage dresser, and it's really nice. You know, again, I don't know what this particular color is, but it's some kind of looks like the color atmospheric, which is a Sherwin-Williams color. Anyway, again, your basic wood on slide drawers. It's really nice. I'm over painting the hardware, so I'll show you guys how I paint all my hardware. But it's going to be a good looking piece. It's got some nice details, and it'll have some, you can see where it has the toe caps here. You can see the recesses that are cut in the wood. We'll slide a toe cap on there, and it's going to be pretty sharp. So got that going on. And of course, have this beautiful, another serpentine piece going out. This is leaving today as well, finally, and it turned out really good. Really nice looking piece, and of course, this is our hardware. I think I've shown people that in some previous videos, but very pretty, very glossy, and that's kind of what people are wanting. So, okay, what else? We're gonna go into paint. Let's head in the paint department. We'll show you guys what we've got going on there. So I don't have anything in a paint room at this moment, but I got a crap ton of painted stuff to look at. So in here, hold on, flip back around. So we've got a little customer piece here. This is some kind of a white color. But again, the gloss actually is really good on this piece. And it's very hard to see, I get it, but it turned out really nice. So we're real happy with that one. More vintage pieces here. These are all client-owned pieces. These aren't pieces that would fit our aesthetic, but clients love this stuff. And I've talked with you guys about how there's a lot of sentimental value in vintage furniture. And one of the things that will help people to sell if, you know, tariffs become a thing is selling used things, right? Or vintage things, or, you know, secondhand, whatever you want to call it. You know, use whatever adjective you want. But these things are going to be a way for you to sell things that are going to be at a cheaper price point. And again, tariffs won't affect them one bit because it's already here. It's, you know, it's been in house. And paint, if you use Sherwin-Williams paint, you don't have to worry too much about tariffs. They may raise their prices a tiny bit, but the point is that most of their paint is made here in America, in I believe Baltimore, if I remember correctly. Anyway, they make like 150,000 gallons a day. I mean, just tons of freaking paint. All right, flipping back around. Okay, so this is another serpentine. You'll notice a lot of serpentine pieces, right? And this is kind of how the furniture game works. You end up with with certain styles that just get kind of popular, and then it slows down, and then they get popular again, and that's just kind of how it works. And here you can just kind of see what we do for all of our drawers. So we're just going to, we'll put our paper on here, we wrap them, and then we always label everything on the back side, right? So left 2. So obviously left 2 would be on the left side of our dresser in the second position, starting from the top, working down. So anyway, we make sure everything's labeled. That makes it easy to put it all back together. And so yeah, that's kind of how the business of painting works. Here we've got one of our X vanities. We just sell lots of these. Again, one of those halo pieces that I'm always talking about. These are, 50, 60 pieces a year just making this one piece of furniture, which is fantastic. So yeah. Hey Josh Mady, good. I'm glad you glad you finally caught a live stream. So we're talking, I showed it early on, a big massive China cabinet that was a big cluster that I'm working on getting it fixed up. We're going to deliver it today, and hopefully the client's going to be happy because they've bought a lot of pieces from me, and man, you got to make those people happy. So yeah, glad you made it, Josh. Okay, so let's see here. Into the paint room. So these have all been primed, right? And you can see the primer. The primer is actually very smooth. It's fantastically smooth. A shitty prime job will be kind of rough. You'll feel it, whereas this is very smooth. Our painter is really good at laying primer. And all that does is allows your sanders to be able just to sand fairly quickly. They don't have to fight different kinds of finishes, because truth is when it's real heavy and inconsistent, you start with 220. But when it's dead smooth like this, you can go with 320 and just sand the entire cab with 320. You don't have to kind of bounce back and forth. So anyway, so he does a great job. Got more of these pretty pieces. I did a video on this piece yesterday. I did a short. This whole entire panel was rocking, right? And the reason is this is an 1/8-inch panel. And this is why I'm always talking about when I show my videos of making furniture, I always build all my furniture using 3/4-inch plywood that butts into the front leg and the back leg, because that allows the structure to last forever. This is kind of cheaper version of it. Here, we'll pull this thing out. Let's see what I got. So I can show you guys the inside here. Okay, so the inside, you can see it's just a hollow little panel, and they originally glued the panel to the framing panel, right? This is called a framing panel. This is kind of furniture making 101. Same deal up here. That's what they did. And the way that they would make this is they would assemble the carcass, right? You'd assemble, the legs, the mid framing panel, the bottom framing panel, the other mid, and then you have a top framing panel. Excuse me, I'll move my camera up here. You have a framing panel under here as well, and they assemble that whole carcass together. Then they would take the panel here and they would slide it down in through these legs, right? You'll have a little tongue, they're not a tongue, you'll have a little dado cut in here, and they could slide the thing in there, and then you put the top on, cap it all off. And that's kind of how they did that. And it's not a bad way to do it. It's just, it doesn't last forever, but I'm sure this piece of furniture is 50 years old at this point, so it's a good one. And it'll be there for another 50 years. So also so here's another thing. So this is, if anyone has seen these kind of Century pieces, this caning is actually plastic, right? So what we do in order to get, paint does not stick to plastic very well. So one of the things that we do when we're painting plastic is we use a product called Stix, right? So I'm gonna go over here. I'll show you, whoops, sorry guys. Okay, come over here. So this is what, if you're gonna spray on plastics, I found that this product here works really well. It's not very expensive, but it just sticks to freaking plastic much better than, I'm always talking about our vinyl sealer, right? I always show you guys what I work with. And the main product that we use for all of our furniture is this Mohawk heavy solid stuff, right? And this stuff's pretty pricey, but it works amazingly. It builds up a nice primer surface that can be sanded down dead smooth. But the Stix product is fantastic. Like it just seems to adhere to odd surfaces much better. So that's a quick tip for you guys if you ever need to paint any kind of plasticky type stuff, concrete, whatever, like that stuff is it's amazing. It's waterborne, so it's easy to clean up for the most part, whereas our vinyl sealer is not, and it's like the rest of our paint, so it sucks to clean. We gotta use acetone and stuff like that. So, okay, I'm gonna go through a couple comments here and I'll show you guys some more stuff. Okay, so Josh has finally got a live stream. We got, looks like M45 era. Do you make any metal speaker stands? No, we don't make any metal speaker stands. We work with brass quite a bit. I do a lot of brass work and do a little bit of aluminum work, but I don't make anything for speakers specifically. We could, it's not that we couldn't. It's just we're a furniture maker, and that's generally what people come to us for. We get asked to make all kinds of oddball stuff from time to time. And depending on how busy we are, sometimes we'll take that work on. But the truth is that as you kind of grow your company, you have to learn to say no to things. I mean, everyone knows this, I think, at this point. And while that's hard to do, it's just one of those things you got to do. So no, I don't make any speaker stands. All right, I got Josh here. Love your live stream. Can you tell I can learn a lot from watching? I appreciate this. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. And again, if you guys watch these streams, week after week after week, you ask all the questions. I'll show you all the furniture. You'll see all the stuff that we make and all the stuff that we paint, and you'll notice that it changes every week, because in order to run a company, you have to turn over product. And this is the thing that a lot of people have, this kind of fanciful idea that, they're just going to work in their garage and they're going to work at their own pace and they're just going to, do a little this and a little bit of that and everything's going to be fine. And unfortunately, you have to turn product over. And while you don't have to be super fast, right? It's not like you got to bust your ass and you got to ride people left and right. That's not true at all. You do have to just make sure you're turning over consistently product so that you're collecting checks, right? I mean, that's ultimately how you get paid. You got to give somebody something, and as a country, we probably forgot that. But, that's what you got to do. So, all right, we're going to go, let's see, we're going to go back, flip back around here. So we got a couple sideboards. So sideboards seem to be real popular right now. And again, notice the serpentine. That seems to be kind of a theme. People are liking this curvy kind of stuff. And right now, I've got two massive sideboards that I have to build. One of them is actually just like this. So got that going on. And then, like I said, in our paint room, I don't think we have much of anything in the old paint room. It's kind of dead in here. I took most of the stuff out of here this morning. So yeah, so not much going on there. Okay, let's head back in the wood shop. Actually, here, I'll show you. Let's see if I have this. I have a sample. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something. Okay, we're talking about mixing colors real quick, and we'll talk about dealing with customers and wanting colors. I'll show you guys what I got going on here. Bear with me. Okay, so what I've got here is a color. And this is the thing. Sherwin-Williams does most of my color matching, and they're pretty good. But every now and again, like they don't hit the mark, and that's true with anything in life. But so let's flip around here. I'll show you guys the cabinet. So this is a two-piece china cabinet. This is made by Bernhardt, and they don't make the best quality stuff, but they make a lot of it, and it's very nice looking. They've got great aesthetic. But anyway, what we got going on here? We'll set this on here. So Sherwin, you can generally give them a color, and they'll match it, right? You can say, I need the color Rumor by Behr, and they have access to all these kind of color codes, right? And this is, I believe, this is the color. Sorry guys, I'm sure it's a little blurry. It's Rumor by Behr. Anyway, when we put it on the piece here, you can see that it's way off. So the color that Sherwin mixed up is not great. They didn't do a good job. And the truth is that it's very hard to mix lacquer. Lacquer looks very different than your standard fan decks, your color decks, right? So lacquer is always going to be lighter than the color, right? So if you want this color, you really need to go about 2 shades darker, then get your color mixed up in lacquer, and it'll appear closer to what you want it to look like. So that's just like a quick tip on lacquer. And that's the thing, is like sometimes they just don't hit the mark. And even though they're professionals, they do a great job. Anybody can mess up. So you need to get your shades darker than what you actually want your high gloss lacquer to look like, because most most paint companies use electronic tools now to figure out the color of a paint. They put it under an eye. That eye, I forget, there's a name for it. Eye reads the color, mixes up the formula kicks out the formula accordingly to what it's gonna, what you want it to look like. It doesn't work that way with lacquer, because the eyes that these people use don't know what to do with the reflection or the gloss. And so most people have to mix them up by sight. And truth is, a lot of these larger companies, they've got kids working there, they got super high turnover, and the skill of mixing color, the craft of mixing a color, which is a craft, these people don't have it. It's not that they won't get it someday, but they're not into that, right? So, all right, flipping back around. So this is a good opportunity to talk about this cabinet, okay? So pay very close attention here, guys. So this is Bernhardt, right? Bernhardt's been around for a very long time. They're thought of today as being a high-end furniture company. Now, what do you see here? If we look along here, is there anything that doesn't seem super high quality, right? And some of you have already guessed it, I'm sure, but this is particle board, right? The entire cabinet is made of particle board, right? Except your framing panels. Your framing panels are all solid. These are the guts of your furniture, right? Come down here to the bottom, right? Work all the way top, come down the end panel, same deal. particle board, right? And that's what everyone's doing. And they've been doing this for years at this point. And the reason they do this is because it's consistent. You can put particle board on a CNC router, and a CNC router is going to know exactly where the top is. You can just run sheet after sheet after sheet after sheet, and it's very consistent, right? Whereas plywood is very inconsistent. So anyway, that's what they do. They run particle board, they veneer both sides of it. Same thing here, they'll put some veneer on there, and that's what they do. It's very common among most manufacturers, to be quite honest with you. So anyway, thought I'd kind of show you guys that. It's kind of interesting. There are a lot of manufacturers that don't use particle boards and MDFs and engineered woods, basically. Excuse me, guys. And those companies aren't in business anymore, which is not a good omen for the Resplendent Crow. Because I make everything out of plywood and hardwood. So yeah, maybe we'll be out of business here before too long. But truth is that it's just very difficult to mass produce products that make things super quickly when you have inconsistency in your material. This is one of the reasons you don't see a lot of hardwoods being used today, is because wood moves, right? And all these guys want to be able to do is put some newbie on a machine, give them some material, and have them just run the shit out of it. And we're not seeing the craftsmanship element anymore because it's too expensive. So anyway, not gonna drone on about that. Let's go into the wood shop. And actually, well, here, hold on, go through a couple more comments. Y'all run smooch blades. I don't know what that means, Joshua. This is Joshua Do. I don't know what a smooch blade is. You may have to elaborate on that one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what part of my business that it would even pertain to. Okay, rather get it is way than store bought. Yeah, making furniture is, or getting vintage furniture is well, actually, we're gonna hold off on that comment. I'll come back. So I build custom cabinets, but off at the moment because I got my hand. Oh shit. Yeah, I know a lot of people they get a digit caught in something. Yeah, but have hope, man. I know a guy who completely blew up his thumb on a pin router and still works in furniture making today. So that's not going to be the death of you, I promise. That's scary though, man. Sorry to hear that. Injuries in woodworking are very common, and it's just, again, if you see a carpenter or a furniture maker, cabinet maker, in their 50s and 60s, and they still have all their digits, that's actually kind of not as common as it used to be. So anyway, good. I hope you get better, man. Yeah, and get back in it, because but shapers are rough, and I see people running shapers in the most interesting way. So I'd be very curious to know what you were doing when you got yourself with a shaper, because shaper is a pretty safe tool for the most part, unless you're starting to run parts into a bit, right? I see a lot of people doing that, where they'll run a corner of a part into a shaper bit and it just grabs it and flings it off, or they're running short parts. I see that. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that. Okay. Yeah, good luck, man. All right, we got Ferris in here. What's up? Good morning, Ferris. Going through the shop. We're going through, seeing all the paint and furniture. We're going through the problems that I have, the mistakes that we've made, the issues that we're having. We've talked about paints. We've talked about primers. We're just talking about all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, are you using, Milwaukee. Yeah, we use Milwaukee for all kinds of stuff. I like Milwaukee tools. I have a lot of DeWalt stuff too, because it's just easy to get. Most places sell DeWalt. Milwaukee is a little more difficult, but yeah, I do have a lot of Milwaukee tools, and I like Milwaukee tools, and they last much longer than DeWalt tools, to be honest with you. DeWalt's kind of a throwaway tool at this point. So, okay, we're going to the wood shop. I'm going to go to the wood shop. I'm going to show you guys what I got going on here, and we'll, not a ton to see here, but we have some woods and things to look at. So what I've got going on here is I've got some samples of material in. So we have sapele right here, which is pretty nice. It's in the mahogany family, and it's really pretty. And I have to make a cabinet. So we're trying to see, how this vendor's sapele looks versus their mahogany. So this is mahogany. And again, very similar, right? These products look, almost identical. But the truth is that they have different grain patterns, and they take stain just a little bit differently, if I'm being completely honest. So anyway, we're trying to figure out, whether we want to use sapele or mahogany. And truth is that we have to make this credenza. Actually, this is a buffet, but we have to make this buffet out of walnut, right? So mahogany, sorry. And the client was very specific, and they want crotch flame mahogany across the front, right? So you have big cathedrals, very expensive veneer. The veneer actually costs more than the cabinet. So it's a very expensive piece. So we want to make sure that we get the right material to go with that very expensive piece of veneer. Each piece of veneer is $1,300. So veneer for walnut is about 200 bucks. It's dirt cheap. So that's a massive cost difference. But anyway, so I got to make sure that I get the right material in for this piece. Also, we'll be finishing up this walnut piece. It's sold now. I actually built this. I just built this for myself one day. I just wanted to cut out all kinds of different stuff, and I just started messing around with different kinds of trims. And anyway, and I wanted something with knife hinges because everything has, you know, Euro hinges. So I just started messing around with that cabinet. It's been sitting forever. But anyway, that's that. Okay, so other thing. We've got these. Everyone recognize these? You know, these little casters were real kind of popular in your 50s. You see a lot of like Duncan Fife furniture uses these. Well, anyway, I got a big client who's buying a bunch of furniture from me. Wants these on this chair, right? And they want this chair to be raised up a total of 3 inches. This gets me about 1.5 inches. So we have to come up with something that we can put on the bottom of this kind of ugly foot here. We got to figure out what we can put on here to get us another 1.5 inches to raise this thing up and then put that on top of there. And I told him it's not really something that I want to do, but he's bought like, I don't know, almost $40,000 worth of furniture from me. So I have to figure out how to make this guy happy and do this project. And anyway, so I'm gonna get this done so we can all post about it and see kind of what we got going on with that particular project once it's done. Okay, so here, I'll go back to the other side of the wood shop. Now in here, so again, we're always fixing furniture. I'm constantly, whoops, sorry guys, let me get my camera to come around here. All right, so I'm constantly fixing furniture because we do vintage furniture. Anyone that wants to get in the furniture game, you're gonna get all kinds of furniture that's gonna have something. Most vintage furniture needs something. And very rarely do you get a piece of vintage furniture that's just perfect right off the bat. So this piece, the entire top was coming off, right? So if you look at the cabinet itself, you know, it's actually fairly well built. You know, you got frame and panels. You have a hardwood center panel, right? You can see where the pieces have actually been joined together. And then over here, what's actually going on here is we gotta look in real close. You can see you have a thick veneer here and you have a thick veneer here. And what they do here is they actually take a piece of particle board in the center, they wrap it with hardwood, and then they veneer both sides. And that's what they did for a little while. I've seen that quite a bit, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. So what we had to do is we had to, of course, we'd glue the top back on, but we have to add blocks. We'll add blocks in the cabinet to make sure that the top doesn't come back off again. So that was something we had to do to that one to be able to get it sold. And anyway, so now it's fixed and we'll kick it back to paint over there and it'll get worked on. So that's what's going on there. So these are my Greeky China cabinets. I'm building these. I've kicked one of them already to sanding, but this is the other one. So this is actually gonna be an extra. This one isn't sold, but it's easier to build things in pairs. So anyway, this is turned out pretty good. So now I used to make all of my fretwork by hand using my pin router, and now I get it all cut on CNC routers. I've got a buddy who's got a couple CNC routers, and he's really helping me out. The Greeky furniture itself, all my Greeky I'm starting to get cut out on a router as well, so that I don't have to make it anymore. Now, if this is made out of cherry wood, I will cut these out of my pin router, right? Because cutting out hardwood's very different than cutting out MDF and particle boards and plywoods and things like that. So nice looking piece. It's all cherry wood. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty nice. So all of our hinges are gonna be solid brass, beautiful hinges. And they're not terribly expensive. Deltana makes them, if you're ever looking for a really nice hinge. So we got that going on. Now, I told you guys I'd show you how I paint my hardware. So this is what the hardware looks like when it comes to vintage furniture. What we do is we just wipe it off with a little bit of acetone, and then we're gonna come in and we're gonna spray it. And the product that I use is simply Rust-Oleum, right? Very common, it's just the color gold. And I've done this for 8 years. Same product, no problems, and customers have never complained. They have never complained that the paint wears off. It's just never been a problem. I've never had a complaint. So if we look at the other side, you see I haven't painted this side, you know, and it's this old kind of patina finish. And then, you know, once you paint it, looks really nice, and people like that stuff. So you don't have to do something super complicated that requires a lot of work. You can actually just paint it, and that's worked for the Resplendent Crow for, like I said, 8 years at this point. But you can see the difference. So anyway, we'll put all this stuff back together, and these are the toe caps that I was showing you that we need to get put on. So there's the back side. See how kind of, it just almost looks dirty, but if you wipe it off with acetone, it's just patina, you know. But people don't want that. They like that gold, so that's what we'll do. What's going on there? So this piece came back, and pay attention. You might take the light here to see it. So as I run right along here, you see all this kind of stuff. This entire cabinet was wrapped with plastic, shrink wrapped, like as it should be. Wipe some of this off. Again, it's kind of hard. You can kind of see a little bit right here, but it's all over the top. And what it is the cabinet wasn't done gassing off. That's what solvent-based paints do. They have to off-gas a lot. And anyway, they wrapped this entire cabinet in shrink wrap and cooked the cabinet. So what you're seeing here is the off-gassing from the plastic that was wrapped on here. So we'll have to fix that. And the truth is that I will wet sand and polish this. I've done a ton of videos on my YouTube page about how I do all this stuff. And we'll wet sand it, we'll buff it, we'll polish it, we'll wax it, and it'll look like a mirror. It'll be beautiful and the customer will love it. So yeah, so we got going on there. Pieces come back, shit happens. And anyway, this is our hardware. We sell this and it's really nice. And yeah, so it's good stuff. We make all that in India. And that's what's going on there. So, okay, what else? So we got dressers. We're building dressers this weekend. So I'll kind of show you what we have here with dressers. So I built something called an Emily dresser, an Emily line of furniture. And these are the end panels. Okay, so this is how I make all my end panels. So we're gonna have a front leg. Right, front leg has a nice detail cut in it. We cut all this by hand. Just use a router and a jig. There's, of course, your outside. This would, of course, be the inside because furniture has to have, this would be called a dado, right? And then you have to have a rabbet. This is a rabbet, okay? And all your end panels are going to stack, not end panels, your framing panels are going to stack in here 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's kind of how, that's the guts of a cabinet. So we got a lot of framing panels to make. I think I cut out 48 individual pieces to make all these framing panels. So we're putting all dressers together this weekend. It'll be good stuff. Okay, last thing. We're going to go into sanding. Here's something interesting for you. Okay, this is back in shipping. So here, I'll come and turn back around here. So this is where we bring furniture in. We bring our vintage furniture in. So shipper dropped off a bunch of this stuff the other day, and this is all Henry Link, right? This entire company was founded selling this stuff. Like, this is what it is. This stuff's super easy to work with. All you have to do, the finish on here, the old finish is fantastic. So all you really have to do is just scuff sand this, just knock the shine off of it, and it's ready to prime, which is awesome. And you can see this particular person had these glass tops made. It's very common to have, move this. It's very common to have glass tops put on your lacquered furniture, right? And you see that it's 1/4 inch thick. And this is what most people do. And you can just make a template for your furniture, and then give it to your glass company, and they'll cut it up for you. And it's very nice. So we like that kind of stuff. The other thing is, my wife found this faucet here that she just had to have. It's shaped like a damn, what is it, a swan, I think. She was trying to tell me who it made it. Apparently, it's someone that people would know. I have no freaking idea. My wife buys so much junk. And anyway, it's all swans. So we're gonna do videos about getting that thing all put together. So Sucheta's always doing freaking projects. And it's funny. So you guys will appreciate this. So my wife's from India, right? So she doesn't always know like the American references as well as the rest of us do. But the minute I saw that swan, the first thing I thought was that scene in Billy Madison where he's sitting in the tub and he's fighting, the shampoo's better and I'm the conditioner, I'm better. And he turns over to the faucet and he's like, stop looking at me, swan. And you see that, and I showed her this, and I'm dying laughing. I think it's just freaking hilarious. And she's just like, I don't get it. It's like, God damn it. Like, it's one time where I think, God, I wish I should have married an American woman. She would get all these references. But no, it's hilarious. So it's kind of funny stuff. So all right, so we're here in sanding. Okay, sanding department is a little bit thin, so we got to get some more stuff down here, and we'll talk about what we got here. So this is what I just showed you guys, the China cabinet, right? So this is the first one. It's all done, ready to go, and they're breaking it down, and they're going to get it all sanded and cleaned up, and they'll fill any imperfections, and that's kind of how it goes. And this actually pisses me off because big doors like this you cannot leave leaning up like that. That is a no-no. They have to be made flat. Otherwise, they will potentially twist, especially when the wood's raw like that. So need to work on that on Monday. So what else we got in here? We got these beautiful secretaries that have come in, and we got more, of course, faux bamboo furniture. We're always doing freaking faux bamboo furniture and China cabinets. So it's Good thing. Okay, so something special over here. I'll show you guys these. I'm doing a video on these. These are Dorothy Draper Spana chests. These are the originals, and they're beautiful. These are iconic furniture. They're probably my favorite pieces of furniture, to be quite honest with you. I love making these. So I make probably, I don't know, 8 of these a year. People come to us to make them because we make them with soft close slides and our hardware looks better. But these are beautiful, right? So Dorothy Draper was the person that basically started the interior design business. She came up with this iconic design. I think she was hired by the country of Spain, if I remember correctly, to make these. And anyway, they're beautiful. They're just, Henredon made these. And if anyone knows anything about Henredon is a fantastic company from North Carolina. You can see there it says Heritage by Henredon. It's got the stamp in there, and they're beautiful. And you'll see people make replicas of these, and the replicas they make are always shit. And one of the things that they do is they forget to add this detail. And this detail is very important. So you see that a lot of times people make these, it'll just be be flat across the front. And the drawers will even be flat. The drawers are not supposed to be flat. You see, it's supposed to be set back 5/8 of an inch. This is a 5/8 radius. You have a small little dip there, and you have another small dip there. And people miss this detail, and it drives me insane. So they always get the iconic detail correct, but they miss the face frame detail, which is something that I always talk about. It's very important. If you're gonna make one of these, you capture that. So anyway, I know people might not appreciate this the way that I do, but I'm a little bit of a furniture geek. So I'll be doing a video of, I'm gonna go ahead and break all these down. I'm gonna sand them, and I will get them painted, and I'll do a full video on how all that's done. So we'll do a before and an after kind of thing. And yeah, people should like that. So, okay, last thing. We're gonna go in the back where we take all of our pictures. Bear with me, it's gonna get dark for a second. I'll show you guys the finished pieces we have back there because that's where we kind of stage everything so that our shippers can come in and they can just kind of load things up, and everyone just kind of knows where all that stuff is. So yeah, follow the blue light, the blue light, the blue light. Okay, coming back here. Again, I always show people this. This is it's like the scary place, like freaking axe murderers come back here. All right, into this room. So in here we have, again, I think I showed you guys this last week. Got these chairs, they need to get out of here. What I was gonna show you is our faux bamboo dresser, right? So we make these. These are beautiful. They've got beautiful cherry drawer boxes, and the originals are nothing like this. Everything's on soft close slides, and they're gorgeous, right? The shine is amazing. This is what everybody wants. And it's, you can do this. Like I tell people this, you all can do this at home. We are not special. This isn't a special process by any means. It does take a lot of practice, but you can do this in your garage. We started this company literally in a 1.5 car garage in Creve Coeur. And that's the best way to show people what's going on there, but it's cool. So anyone can do this. Anyone can paint furniture, high gloss lacquer furniture with a little bit of practice. Come back over here. This desk, same deal. Really nice looking top on it. Turned out really well, and people just love this stuff. Truth is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but this one came in, the top was completely effed. It had peeled, and this happens a couple times a year, so we sanded it all down. We sanded the entire cabinet down, and we repainted it, and it's turned out absolutely beautiful. So it's a very nice looking piece. You got these beautiful brass details on here. If we come across the front, there I am. Pretty easy to see. And yeah, people like this stuff. There's good money in this, and it's great work. Over here we've got a Century desk. And actually we bought this was something that someone just threw at us, like, hey, you want to buy this thing? I think we bought it for like $100 and sold it for, I don't know, probably $3,000. So there's money to be made if you're looking for it. So in here, of course, we have another faux bamboo. We're always doing faux bamboo. Beautiful piece. We get that thing sold. And then here, that's all we have in there. So one thing I do want to show you guys real quick, and then we're going to be done. Let's come back in here, more crappy part of our building. There was an old bowling pin building. All right, so here's a console table. It looks a little bit dark. Oh, shoot. Hold on, guys. Hold on. There we go. Okay. This is one of our Greek key pieces. And I really like this piece of furniture because everyone always gets it in green. And finally somebody got it in a navy. And so you can actually see the beautiful Greek key. And there's, of course, our Greek key hardware. And it's really nice looking. And I hope to sell a heck out of these things. We just put a little drawer in here, a little tiny drawer on soft close slides. And it's beautiful. It turned out really well. It's dark in here, so I guess it's kind of hard to see everything. But I really like it. And I hope to sell a bunch of those. So anyway, that's kind of what I got. So I think that's all that I have for you guys as far as what's in the shop today. I'm gonna have a ton of questions, and again, that's the great thing about what's in the shop is we just kind of show things around. I answer questions if I can. So I'll be back here on Sunday, and we'll go through a piece of furniture. Probably a china cabinet. Seems to be what I'm working on these days, and trying to do more streams to kind of let people know what it is that we do and how this business works. I'm doing streams kind of around 4 o'clock most days, and we just kind of pick a topic and talk about it. Usually I'll drink a beer because that's what I want to do, have a beer, and shoot the shit with people. And so that's what I'm doing. So anyway, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I hope, everyone's day isn't too long and get the heck out of here. And everyone has a good Easter. I think we've got Easter coming up Sunday. So spend some time with your family and give thanks and all that good stuff. And I will yak at everyone probably on Sunday. So bye.